Okay, thank you.
Somewhere around there.
All right, bang the gavel.
Okay.
Yeah. Good evening. Welcome to the November 16th, 2023 meeting of the Town of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the Town Board's enactment of Local Law Number 14 of 2022. Our next meeting and those following also will be held in person here at Town Hall and will continue to allow for remote participation. So please keep checking the town's website for updates and new information. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only and not participate, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website for viewing access. With that, I ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those of you who are here tonight, in case of an emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases across the hall and continue downstairs and out through the main entrance. Do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator. Restrooms are located across the hall from this room. Before we begin, I want to explain the absence of Adam Grossman, from the board dais. Some of you already may know that Mr. Grossman has been appointed as a town justice to the Southampton Town Justice Court to fill an empty, unexpired term. As such, he has resigned from the Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately. Adam Grossman was originally appointed to the ZBA in 2002. He served 8 years as a board member, 6 years as vice chair, and 7 years as chairman, for a total of 21 days.
Years.
21 years. Oh boy, that was a slip. 21 years. There are 2 other members with long service. Keith Tuthill, who I believe started in, what did we say, 2001?
Here,
And- And Helen Burgess, who joined the board around 2010. Speaking for myself, Adam has been a wonderful mentor to me as a relatively new board member. There is much to learn when taking a position on a board such as this, and Adam did a fabulous job of guiding me through the process. Without spending too much more time in honoring Adam for his outstanding public service and commitment, which we hope to do at a later date, I welcome any comments other board members may have before we get down to business.
I second that, everything that you said. Adam has been a terrific mentor and an excellent guide for me in the last 4 or 5 years, and we're gonna miss him.
I would agree with both statements. I came on as a new board member about 2 years ago and learned a lot from Adam. Any questions I had, always there to answer, and explained everything in great detail, and I learned a lot from the way he handled the meetings, and his demeanor was, I thought, outstanding at all times in handling the public, which sometimes can get a little raucous. But we're gonna miss you, Adam, but I'll be seeing you in court also.
I spent 20 years with Adam.
Not 20 days, 20 years.
20 years.
Tell
He's
us
a
how
good
you
man.
feel.
He'll do a good job down there in that justice court.
Make a great judge.
He will. He's a very
John, did you wanna
justice-minded
say
man.
anything?
Well, prior to my being on the board, Adam was my friend. And I'm sad to see him go, but I'm very excited for him and happy for him and his new ventures. So I wish him the best of luck.
And Ms. Burgess?
Irreplaceable.
I agree. Second that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're going to begin this meeting with public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is monitored by CTV. CTV will mute speakers on Zoom until it's their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find you're having difficulties accessing the hearing, visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Also, for those of you in this boardroom, please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another as it interferes with the recording of our proceedings. Tonight, board member Helen Burgess is participating via Zoom. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking other than attorneys will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. In order to consider properly every application before us tonight, individuals commenting on a particular application have a time limit of 3 minutes. Also, before handing in any submissions to the board tonight, please make sure that the documents identify the ZBA application name, tax map number. The application name should also be written on your certified receipts. Unless otherwise stated at the end of an individual application hearing, all applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a date given. Those written comments can be addressed to members of the board, sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at the town hall to the board secretary, Candace Howell. At this time, I would like a motion to approve the minutes of our November 2nd meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Should I go through, run individually through?
To what?
To ask individual because of Mike's abstention?
No.
Okay, all right, so the motion passes, the minutes are approved. Okay, and I think Keith, you're up next in terms of the agenda.
Yeah, we'll go over the agenda. There are some changes to the agenda. Item 5 on the agenda, which is he's called 535 Relay Inc. Will be re-advertised, we'll move to re-advertise it to 1/18.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No need to vote.
Pardon me?
No need to vote. Go ahead.
Okay, no need to vote. All right, next.
Item 8 on the agenda, Mark H. Mandel and Jennifer A. Mandel has been withdrawn. Item 9 on the agenda, which is 625 Butter Lane Homestead LLC, move to adjourn to 2:15:24.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
All right,
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
all right, item 10 on the agenda, 10 and 11 is both SGM Excavating LLC. Move to adjourn to both of those to our January 4th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
All right,
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess, Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
okay, the following decisions will be put off till 12/7. Mark Smith and Heather Cole, Lake Creek Properties, Eugenio Presta, Dilip Patel and Sabia Dillon, Eric Belfi and Tara Belfi, Aaron Appel, Alexander Vyman, and Production Holdings LLC.
Second.
All to be put over till 12/7.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
All right,
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
Sue, you wanna read 144 Mariner Associates?
Yes, we have two decisions which we're going to handle in the beginning of the meeting tonight. And I have an amended decision in the matter of 69 Wild Goose Lane LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-103-2-30. On November 2nd, 2023, this board, by decision D-023131, granted a variance to legalize a third story in an existing dwelling. This decision, however, referenced the survey prepared by Squires, Holden, Weissenbacher, and Smith, last revised August 17, 2023. That was not part of the application, since the survey was prepared by Gary Benz, LS. Therefore, decision number D-012331 is hereby amended to clarify that the variances granted are granted as shown on the survey prepared by Gary Benz, LS, last updated March 9, 2023, and the floor plans prepared by Stott Architecture dated April 19, 2023. All other provisions and conditions of decision D-023131 remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. I also have a decision in the matter of 144 Mariner Associates LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-102-1-19. This application is for property located at 1054 Montauk Highway, Watermill. Applicant requests variances to use an existing building for an emergency veterinary hospital in the highway business zone. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, this board grants the following relief from Town Code Section 330-150B, veterinary hospital or kennel, to allow an existing one-story metal building to be used as an emergency veterinary hospital. 1, a front yard setback of 39.7 feet from the east property line, Montauk Highway, where 50 feet is required. 2, a side yard setback of 10.5 feet from the north property line, where 50 feet is required. And 3, a side yard setback of 34.9 feet from the south property line, where 50 feet is required. As shown on the site plan prepared by Lester Holden, Squires Holden, and Weisenbacher and Smith, prepared April 4, 2023, the grant of the foregoing relief is conditioned upon such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay,
And do the secret as well,
okay.
so we can get everybody's vote.
Yep, I got it. I have a secret resolution in connection with the application of 66 Montauk LLC. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals has received a request and submittals for variances in connection with the application of 2266 Montauk LLC for property located at 2252 Montauk Highway, Bridgehampton, and whereas after a review of the documents submitted, the Zoning Board of Appeals found that this project is an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and coordinate review with the following involved agencies. Excuse me, the Southampton Town Planning Board, the Suffolk County Department of Health Services, and New York State Department of Transportation. And whereas the Southampton Town Planning Board, by letter dated October 10th, 2023, indicated that they would like to assume lead agency status in connection with the secret review of this project, and now therefore be it resolved that the Southampton Town ZBA hereby agrees that the Southampton Town Planning Board should assume lead agency status with regards to the application of 2266 Montauk LLC pursuant to 6 New York NYCRR Section 617.6B, and be it further resolved that this board directs that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Southampton Town Planning Board, Suffolk County Department of Health Services, and New York State Department of Transportation.
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay, we're gonna go to the beginning of the agenda now. And item 1 on the agenda is Diane and Edwin Schottenstein, 27 Meeting House Road in Quogue. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for proposed addition to an existing dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 330-11, Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 38.05 feet where 40 feet is required. A minimum side yard setback of 15.2 feet where 20 feet is required. And a total side yard setback of 38.7 feet where 45 feet is required. And 330-84D pyramid height for encroachment in the amount of 83.25 cubic feet and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction.
Jim is on.
Yeah, we're looking for Jim Hume or anybody from Kelly and Hume. On Zoom possibly,
I am the owner of Zoom.
okay? And maybe,
Jim said he called me early, he's gonna be a little late, so if he's not on there, he says he can call it, so he just.
Yeah, we'll call it about 10 o'clock tonight.
all right, Kevin, do you see Jim Hume?
No, I don't.
Okay, Candace just said that he's gonna be a little bit late and that we should second call this, so just tell that property owners to sit tight.
Okay, second call on that, okay.
Okay, so
Up
item
next.
2 on the agenda is Brian Farrell, 11 Robbins Lane in North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-62-1-10. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for a proposed dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 330-11, Residence District's Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 12.3 feet, where 60 feet is required. A minimum side yard setback of 10 feet where 20 feet is required, and a rear yard setback of 35 feet where 70 feet is required. 2, 330-103, corner clearance to allow a portion of the proposed dwelling to be located within the corner clearance area. And 3, 330-84D, pyramid height for an encroachment in the amount of 2,657.59 cubic feet. In addition, applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for a proposed attached garage. 1, 330-11, for an accessory distance from street front yard setback of 12.1 feet from the westerly property line where 70 feet is required. And 2, for an accessory side yard setback of 10 feet where 20 feet is required. 2, 330-5, definitions, lot line, front, B3, for an accessory rear yard 20.1 feet from the southerly property line where 40 feet is required. And 3, 330-103, corner clearance to allow the attached garage to be located within the corner clearance area. And 4, 330-84D, pyramid height for an encroachment in the amount of 22.87 cubic feet. In addition, applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-83A4, yards to allow a proposed deck higher than 1 feet above ground level to be located in the required front yard, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction, just hold on one second while we pass these down. Keep these are the originals.
We'll do it as a remedy.
Yep. And we'll just take one of those and pass it down.
That's yours, that's fine.
And what is this? I don't know.
There you go, man.
So many. Thanks. You're welcome.
Okay. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, members of the board, Madam Chair, Carl Benincasa, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, for the applicant. And congratulations, Madam Chair, it's nice to see you in the center chair.
Thank you very much.
As noted, this lot is located in the hamlet of North Sea at 11 Robbins Road, it's Robbins Lane, excuse me, just off of Fish Cove. The lot is burdened in several ways. First, as you can see, it's a waterfront lot, meaning that the front yard, what would traditionally be considered the front yard, is the rear yard for setback purposes. Second, although it sits in the R40 zoning district, like virtually all of the lots in the neighborhood, it is undersized and is less than 20,000 square feet in size, so less than half of what is required as far as minimum lot area. Third, the lot is incredibly burdened by wetlands, and through an extensive process with the Conservation Board, the building envelope, building footprint, and buildable area of this lot has been reduced dramatically. Specifically, of a total lot size of 19,826 square feet, the area of wetlands preservation is 9,767 square feet. On top of that, the wetlands buffer comprises 4,557 square feet. And then the 75-foot wetlands setback adds an additional 1,500 square feet of burden, rendering the actual developable portion of the lot outside of the Conservation Board's jurisdiction and regulation to 4,000 square feet. Now that is approximately 1/10 of what is the minimum lot area in the lot area in this zoning district, 1/10 of what the setback regulations, the size of the lot, the setback regulations were written for. And it's 60% smaller than the smallest conforming lot in the town of Southampton. In addition to that burden, it has, as you can see, it's on a corner lot, so it is subjected to 2 front yard setbacks. However, the smaller of the two, this 40-foot span to the south, is just, as I mentioned, a rear yard setback. So it's actually further restricted in that way. So the front yards, what would traditionally be considered front yards, there are 2 of them, and one of them has a rear yard setback. As you know, in R40, the rear yard is 100 feet, and the front yard is 60 feet. So, as a result of this is an incredibly burdened lot, and it's burdened in large part because of the regulations imposed by the town and the Conservation Board. The applicant is proposing a very modest home. The entire size of the home is 1,460 square feet. The footprint is less than 1,000 square feet with a smaller second story. The height of the home is 25 feet, where, as you know, 32 feet is the maximum height. Despite the modest proposal of the development, relief is required because of all the burdens I just mentioned. I'd also like you to take a look at the shape of the lot, as that's something to come into play here as well. As you can see, the lot width at the road is 40 feet, and then it goes out and sort of gets wider the further you get from its from that what is ultimately that rear yard. As a result, the narrowest area happens to be the area furthest from the wetlands and the area that we are restricted to build in. This is a very common problem in the neighborhood, this issue of nonconformity. And I passed this handout around so you can all take a look at it. The color scheme is a little confusing, but you can see there's a lighter orange and it's supposed to be a red. It didn't really print that way, but it's a darker orange. Anyone that is has a lighter orange exists with a pre-existing nonconformity. Anyone with red had been given a variance. So as you can see, other than 2 undeveloped lots, one is the immediately adjacent neighbor, and one is a small lot at the very end of Robbins Lane that is owned by the homeowners association. With the exception of those 2, every lot in this area, and virtually every lot in the subdivision, is less than 40,000 square feet, is non-conforming in size, and contains pre-existing nonconformities with respect to the erection of structures.
All right, Cole. It's terribly constrained,
Yes,
obviously.
okay.
by wetlands.
It's terribly
We-
constrained.
We caught the drift.
All right,
all
I'll move on. So as a result, we are requesting a significant amount of relief at first glance, but given the constraints, as Keith reiterated,
Which are those?
My argument would be, this is not significant relief. First, we're asking for relief of 47.7 feet to construct a dwelling at a western front yard setback. That's this front yard here, on this portion. We're reducing that to 12.3 feet, where 60 feet is required. If 60 feet were met, we couldn't build on this lot. The home would be on the neighboring lot. A relief of 10 feet to construct a dwelling to the eastern side yard, that's this over here, where 20 feet is required. So that's 50% relief, but again, if we were adhering to that, construction would be impossible. And if you look around the neighborhood, you'll see that in fact many lots have a side yard setbacks, a minimum of 10 feet. The average in the adjoining area is roughly 12 feet. Some at 10, some at 15, some at 12, but certainly it's not in contrast with the character of the neighborhood. We're asking for relief of 35 feet to construct a dwelling to a southern rear yard setback of 35 feet. Remember, the southern rear yard is actually this front yard because it's bayfront. So the rear yard will be 70 feet. We're asking for 50% relief to construct the home 35 feet.
Where's that number, Carl?
It's on the very far
It's-
right.
yeah,
It's in the next property, actually.
See that?
See the line?
There's an arrow to it.
I see the,
See 22?
yeah,
right
no,
here.
I see the 35, but that's supposed to be to the house?
To the corner there. If you look, drag it across.
It
closest
arrows to the corner of the home.
Most of the home is actually more than 35 feet, but that
That
far
okay,
corner.
I see. Thank you.
pyramid, we were requesting relief of 2,657 cubic feet. Now, that sounds like a lot, but I'll remind you that initially, when the building department reviewed this, taking average grade from the two corners at the front yard, at that 40-foot front yard, believed that the relief required was 974 cubic feet. There's a change in, or a reinterpretation of the code requiring that we also take average grade from this far front yard corner here. And as a result, the cubic feet went up to 2,657 because the property drops off significantly topographically as you go closer to the water. If this was a few years ago, we would be asking for 974 cubic feet of relief, but given the revised interpretation, it's now 2,657 cubic feet of relief.
I have a problem with it.
No.
Period, relief.
Relief to allow a portion of the dwelling to be located in the corner clearance. So as you know by code, you cannot have any structures over 2 feet in height in a span, in a triangle drawn. If you go 50 feet in one direction at a corner and 50 feet in another, within that triangle, you can't have structures over 2 feet. As you see, the one span is only 40 feet, so it's impossible to comply with that. The amount of, the actual bulking within that is pretty minimal within that. If you were to go 50 feet and 50 feet, it would just be less than half of that garage in the area. Again, this is because of constraint. I would also note that they talk about in the code an intersection. This is not an intersection, it's one road. It's one two-way street. There is no intersecting road. And right now, the road is unimproved and overgrown with trees, so it would not be certainly increasing any impact to that line of sight in that area. As for the garage, as you can see, there's a small garage in the front. Relief of 57.9 feet for a western front yard setback of 12.1 feet where 70 feet is required. Garages do not benefit, as an accessory structure, don't benefit from that flip from front to rear. So because it's distance from the street, not a rear yard. So as a result, the garage still has to meet with that distance from the street, which is significant. As you can see, there is no room anywhere on this lot but there to put that garage. So while 12.1 feet to 70 feet sounds like a lot, given the constraints, it's actually very reasonable. I would note that across the street, we didn't have a survey available on GIS, but we did using the GIS measuring schematic. There's a garage that's 3 feet from the street across Robbins Lane. So this is in line with conditions in the neighborhood. Relief of 10 feet for an eastern side yard setback where 20 is required. For accessory structures, same as the relief that we're asking for the principal residence. Relief of 49.9 feet for a southern rear yard setback of 21.1 feet where 70 feet is required. That's here because, again, there's another front yard we have to contend with over there. And a small amount of cubic pyramid relief, 22.87 cubic feet to construct within the sky plane for that garage. And again, relief to allow that detached garage to be within the corner clearance, as I mentioned. And finally, there's a small deck. As you can see, it's oddly shaped, sort of triangular off the northern portion of the lot of the house. And we're asking that be relieved to be located within required front yard. Again, this is a very small structure. The first floor is 936 square feet, the second floor is 534 square feet, for a total of 1,474 square feet. There is no pool.
Can you say those numbers again?
Sure.
First floor,
The
what?
first floor is 936.
It's 1460
The total.
Total.
Second floor is 534, and the total square footage, first and second floor is 1470 square.
60.
That's right.
Oh, you lied to me before.
Did I say 60?
Well, you said 60, but it's 70,
I
right?
misspoke, 1470, yes. I was trying to get that 10 square feet. So let's talk about whether this creates an undesirable change in the neighborhood. As I said, most of the area is completely built out. There are very few unimproved parcels in this area. All of them deal with nonconformities. I'm getting your drift. And none of them comply with setbacks completely because this area was created well before zoning, and the no lots meet the zoning, the minimum lot area. Are there feasible alternatives? Of course not, given what the Conservation Board has required to preserve the environmental integrity of Fish Cove and these wetlands. They leave us with no option but to proceed here. Given the constraints and substantiality, if this lot were this size, and we were entitled, as it is single and separate, to 3/10, 4/10, the side yard would be 20 feet, and the rear yard here would be 20 feet. So assuming the Conservation Board hadn't done this, and the actual buildable area is its own lot, under 3/10, 4/10, given we are single and separate, we would be entitled to build the structures largely as they are, with some relief on the side yard over here. But again, that's in line with the character of the neighborhood. Is this a self-created difficulty? Obviously not. No structures have been built. The burden is created by the environmental characteristics of the area. I know that there are some concerned neighbors, and we certainly welcome their input, but that's all I have to say for now.
Keith, do you have questions? Since you're taking the lead on this?
I don't have any questions, to be honest with you. I don't have a problem with the application. It's very constrained. It's all about the wetlands. You know what I mean, and everything else, so I'm pretty good with it, I gotta be honest with you. I don't have a problem.
I have some questions. I actually went to see the property.
Mhm.
It's a very, very constrained piece of property. Almost in my opinion, you know, tricky to build there. When you say that it drops down to the water, it substantially drops down. I mean, it's really, it's on a hill,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
It's on a hill. So I have some questions about, how many bedrooms? 4?
4 bedrooms, yes.
4 bedrooms, one being down in the basement.
That's right.
So this, you don't consider this a 3-story house?
No, the basement is,
But,
there's not,
but the basement, because of the drop, there's a
Mhm.
substantial amount of the basement that is not, you know, with the soil up to the windows like normal basement. Is that correct?
yeah, we're not asking for relief. We think we're confident the construction, it would be less than 4 feet above grade, and no part of the basement would be more than 4 feet above grade.
Okay, so then if it's a 4-bedroom house, what is the parking requirement?
It would be three cars.
And where would they go?
One in the garage,
Right.
there's a proposed parking area there, and then there's the driveway.
2 cars in the driveway.
The driveway, I mean, it is smack dab on that road. I mean, what kind of space do you have? I mean, it's just,
Well, there's 12 feet for a car.
12 feet.
Yeah. And then the garage is 22 feet, and the parking area has another 12 feet.
Okay. I noticed that there was a notice there that the trustees permit, what is the trustees permit for this?
That's for this dock.
Oh, for the dock, okay,
That's right.
because it's expired.
I'm not representing them on that. I think
Okay.
they may seek to be renewing that, but I don't believe they may have started some construction on the dock as far as the catwalk goes.
So that dock is part of the property?
That dock is part of the property.
Okay. You know, it's a tricky, I mean, there's a lot of, relief being requested. It's a very confined and constrained piece of property. It's a lovely area, it's a lovely community, modest homes, beautifully kept. I mean, it's just, I can understand why there may be some concerns from neighbors.
I have a concern with the corner clearance request, and many of the neighbors do too. You saw the property, I
I did.
haven't seen it.
I did.
Coming around that corner,
Well, it's hard to tell because it's
'Cause it's
overgrown
grown.
at this point, but it's, it's not a main thoroughfare. I mean, it is it's almost like a private road.
but there still are other
There are other homes,
residences,
yes.
and we certainly don't want to approve anything that becomes a safety hazard.
Right.
And I actually have to disagree with your interpretation of 330-103. It does refer to intersections, but it's intersections of lines, not intersections of streets. And it refers to corner lots. So my concern is, and I'm not sure how you would be able to provide any kind of a submission, I would like to know what kind of how the site triangle would be impeded before approving anything, because I think that even if you you are going to have traffic on that street, there are other residences there, and it concerns me that there may be
I actually had, I was
Something having to do
coming
with
up to
site.
that property, and I was a little confused about exactly where it was, and there was a truck coming around the curve, and I'm telling you, it was, you know, tricky.
Were you
know,
able
you're
to,
right.
were you able to see it as it came on?
Yeah, when
When it finally got to
got
the
around,
turn?
yeah,
That's,
got around
that's
the turn. But
consideration.
again,
But all that
property
foliage
is-
will be
That foliage will
removed.
be
Yes,
gone.
yes, all that will be removed.
So my question is, I see that there's a proposed driveway and I see that there's proposed parking. I'm not sure, and I do get your point. It is 40-foot side of the lot and it's not 50 feet. I get it. It would be ridiculous for it to be, for us to base it on that when that line isn't 50 feet.
No.
But I have reservations.
All right, everybody
We can
keeps-
propose something.
Everybody keeps talking about the neighbors aren't happy or whatever. Let's hear from some
Well,
neighbors.
before we do, let's have the board have an opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll open it up, obviously. Bob, did you have
I don't have any questions. I'm okay with it.
any? Michael, did you have any?
Not at the moment.
Ellen, did you wish to say anything?
No, I understand what John is saying, and I think that issue has to be addressed.
This board did grant a variance for corner clearance in the cove once, so maybe Carl, you could I think she provided some photographs, to just kind of show what it looks like, how many cars are gonna be there.
Sure. There are two neighbors that access beyond this. There's
Right,
two
right.
lots. So we can propose some maybe mitigation or certainly some sort of analysis if you'd like.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, if there's no more questions from the board, we'd like to open it up to the public. If anybody wishes to be heard on this application, which is 11 Robbins Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map 62-1-10. All right, if you can come up. Would you like to sit at the table or go to the podium?
The podium would be.
Yes, you may, of course.
Please.
Yeah.
You should send them to the podium.
So unless you're an attorney, I would just swear you in?
Sure,
Okay. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and address.
Shannon Bradley, 15 Cove Road, Southampton, New York, 119-680.
Okay.
This-
Shannon, tell us.
Is
what
this
your
3
comments-
minutes?
Yes, we're gonna try, because, we're trying to keep everything on track. A lot of people here, so let's try to keep our comments to 3 minutes if you could.
Sure. I just had some questions in reference to the environmental conservation permit is conditional that's in place. It does, some of the mitigations that Mr. Shea had put forth were filing covenants, and I'm just wondering if that's been done with the Suffolk County Clerk's Office. You have a couple of covenants you need to file, and
They typically do that if and when they get approval from this board.
okay, so that was number one. Number two is our overall neighborhood concern for the precedents that it's gonna set as far as, such large relief being granted on some of those setbacks. I was just wondering the accuracy of the front lot line, to delineate, which is the front, with a waterfront lot, the waterfront is the front, then there's another front, you have one rear, one side, but also with waterfront, I feel so bad, because my papers are all messed up. But, with a waterfront piece of property, when someone buys it, they know that there's gonna be certain exemptions, and waterfront lots, also constrictions. Waterfront lots, let's see, here it is. Wetland setback reduction. Many lots are classified as wetlands. A list is maintained in Southampton Town Conservation Department. Basically, what I'm getting to is that, such reductions for front and rear shall not be less than 30 feet, and any such reduced side yard shall not be less than 10 feet. So the relief is not granted to accessory structures either. I'm just wondering if that plays any role, because when you purchase a waterfront lot, you're already taking this into consideration. When this property was purchased, it was at a very reduced rate compared to competitive market, the market what's priced in our neighborhood. So I do believe with the real estate background of the purchaser, they would know that they're purchasing a piece of property that is not necessarily going to be allowed to be built on. I do want to say that any waterfront lot, the rear yard lot line setback is different than what you're requesting relief for. It's doubled. So except for oceanfront lots, the waterfront lot line shall be considered the front lot line. In such cases, the street frontage is considered the rear yard, and accessory structure setbacks for the rear yard are doubled. That's 330-5. So there's just many concerns that we have in our neighborhood in reference to other, it doesn't need to be a 4-bedroom. It's huge relief being requested. We do feel there are other means of getting a home on there, but maybe not necessarily that size.
It's only 1,460 square feet.
Yeah, but for the
How
lot,
big is your house?
my house has been built since 1950. I'm one of the original family members that lived there. I'm the first house built in the Cove.
How big
My
is
house
the
was
Cove?
980 square feet, and in the past 20 years, I think I've improved it to be, I'd have to look at 1,400. I did add a garage, which I filed a variance for, and I,
McMansion in there or anything, you know what I mean?
right, I had to request 4 feet.
1,460 square feet is fairly reasonable.
Right, I had to request 4 feet for relief to build my garage. So I do think that the percentage of relief that is being asked for is somewhat obnoxious, actually.
Okay,
And
you're
that's
at
my
time.
feeling.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your comments.
Sure.
Is there anybody else who would like to be heard on this application?
Hi, Marcus Lochanchi, 35 Waters Edge, Southampton.
Are you an attorney?
I'm not.
Okay.
Oh,
Do
sorry.
you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Can you please state your name again and address?
Marcus Lochanchi, 35 Waters Edge, Southampton, 11968.
Can you
I
spell
also
your, can you spell your last name?
DOCHANTSCHI. I also submitted a letter, so I'm not going to go into the details of the letter, but I think one of the main points I would like to make is, first of all, great job, Mr. Benincasa. So very detailed, and I think every point you have is a good point, but I think we're asking for a relief, and the question is, how big is the relief? And I think a relief of it, in any case, should be given. But for the neighborhood, and this is based also on a communication with the president of the board of the neighborhood, we feel that the relief asked for is way too high, specifically because it is a flat roof structure. It is not a pitched roof. It is a flat roof structure which has a roof deck, which also requires rails, and for that reason, the structure has 25 feet tall, I believe. We believe that for this site, with the setbacks, the ground floor should be 9 foot tall, and maybe the second floor 8 feet. But we don't see why each floor needs to be the heights that it is given, which, by the way, is not indicated in the drawings, but just the total. So we are asking for a reduction of the height, and from the neighborhood character, we think that it should either be a 900 square foot single structure or a 600 square foot double structure. But what is asked for, we believe, is too much for the size of the lot and for the neighborhood.
Carl, what are the ceiling heights?
I don't know independently, as I know, that's 25 feet. I can check. If you want to,
Well, seeing as
Move on to
there's
the next
no height relief
There is no height
requested.
relief, no.
Is there pyramid
No,
relief
yes,
requested?
There's
there's
pyramid
significant,
relief.
2,600 square feet of pyramid relief.
2,600 pyramid.
So I think that it's a legitimate question to ask.
Yeah, it's
you're
the cubic
looking
feet
for
in
the
total.
interior heights.
Yes,
Interior,
first and
Correct.
second.
first and second floors.
The cubic feet in total, relatively speaking, is not a lot, but in percentage of the overall structure, it's a lot. I think that's our main point, and to the other point that was made before, it is a very tight road. I think it is very difficult to park on the corner. To park 3 cars on the corner is very difficult, and to have a 4-bedroom structure in that location also seems very ambitious. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment.
Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard on this application that's in the audience? Carl, have you met with some of the neighbors and talked to them?
No, I received their letters yesterday, so
Okay.
I haven't.
Is this something you would pursue and sit down and talk with them?
Sure.
Okay. And there's a neighborhood association, I understand?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know the extent, I know that the Southampton Cove subdivision is adjacent to this, but does not include this lot, so I don't know if that HOA is unofficially covers this as well, but.
Well, you said that there was
Southampton Cove.
like a community property at the end of that road.
Yeah, that's owned by the HOA, but it's actually not in that original subdivision.
Oh, interesting, because there's
But-
no other access to it other than that, right?
Yeah, but I guess they bought it in a proprietary
Well,
capacity.
all right, okay. Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard in the application of 11 Robbins Lane, North Sea?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Carl?
Yes.
The area you were saying, you were talking about without the wetlands, being able to build on that, that lot. What, do you know, from the 70-foot wetland setback to, what is ostensibly the rear yard, Robbins Lane, the 40-foot stretch? What's the dimensions there?
I know the square footage is about 4,000 square.
Yeah, that's what he went through. in the
Right, no,
beginning.
but I wanna know how
Like
wide it
long
is?
it is.
How long it is?
Yes.
If it's 256 feet, and it looks like it's about a third, maybe a little bit more than a third, figure it out, something like that.
That's not for me to answer, that's for the witness to testify to.
Okay, I agree.
So,
Well,
I could certainly get to those exact dimensions.
yeah, please, I'd like to know that. Because it just seems that if you need a 70-foot setback on an area of the parcel that's 70 feet,
yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
that would be frustrated.
It is clearly a constrained piece of property.
But I'd love to know what that dimension is.
Yeah, I-
Certainly.
You know, I think that there's a sentiment being expressed in the room and sort of on the board that, you know, maybe there's some way to, you know, bring it down a little bit, make it a little bit more conforming to the sizes in the neighborhood. And I'm just suggesting that perhaps you have an opportunity to meet with people and see, you know, be creative.
Sure. I think that their concerns are well thought out, and we're happy to.
Right, right,
engage.
and I think they appreciate the fact that it's a very difficult piece of property. I mean, you know, it just zooms down and it's narrow and, but the corner clearance thing, I mean, I'm telling you, that is tight up there, that road. And I know that there's not a lot of traffic, but, you know, you're gonna put a garage with parking spaces there, it's, you know, I think it's a challenge.
Well, it could cause a safety concern, and that's, I think, the most important
And, you
thing.
know, the other problem is during construction, so.
So just to be clear, I will submit written submission indicating the interior heights of each
Right.
floor.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And Member Leonard would like dimensions of.
The dimensions of the buildable lot.
Buildable lot area.
After the 70-foot wetland setback. And also, we would like a submission with regard to the corner clearance relief.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I share that concern about corner clearance. You know, it's common that that people will build or install ornamental plants on their property lines, on corners, and we have quite a number of dangerous corners in the town, you know.
Yeah,
So
we don't need to create more.
I want to know that, that nothing would be planted in that area, and there wouldn't be anything that would obstruct the view as you go around there either, although I know the proposed garage is looking at 12.1 and 20.
And let us know
0.1.
what your client's, whether your client would be willing to put some conditions into the variance with regard to the corner clearance relief, with regard to
It's mitigation.
mitigation, what can be placed there.
Sure.
I think they need to revisit the plan, period.
So you're suggesting that this be
You want to hold it open?
I would suggest, yes, holding it open.
I would be agreeable with that.
And allowing counsel to speak to the neighbors and speak to his client and come back with responses to these things.
The applicant's preference would be to close, and we can engage and then submit written comment.
I
I would
understand.
like to, I would like to keep it open. I'd like you to come back, Carl, with all the information that we've asked you for.
Sure.
All right, I think that there's a consensus on the board that that should be the case. Keith, do you wanna,
Fine.
you're taking the lead on this, do you wanna,
Carl, when you wanna come back?
yeah.
ASAP, tell me,
Well, we have an opening.
January 4th.
isn't it?
That's what they said.
Sure.
Ring in the new year with us.
Did you say, Candace?
January 4th.
Okay, we're gonna hold this over for all purposes to 1/4/24.
Okay, and the people in the audience and elsewhere should feel free to submit written comments.
Yeah, and I'll
Absolutely.
provide my information so we can discuss.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect. Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Thanks, have a great night.
Thanks.
Jim Henry's here from number one.
Yeah, so he's gotta take it, he's gotta move.
Who they got?
Oh, I'll second. Did he even make a motion?
He did, yes, all right, he did. Thank you,
Second.
You
Can-
seconding it.
Thank you, Candace.
Well,
All right, Keith, you made the motion to adjourn.
I
John
seconded it.
seconded it, so Mr. Tuthill,
aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. You better keep me honest here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're
Oh,
up
wait,
to,
Do you want a second
Yeah,
call
no.
the other
No,
one?
not yet. I just thought about something. You said in the beginning we did with written submission deadlines to 12/1.
12-1.
Could you change that for all the applications to 12/8? The holiday next week, I'm not sure when I'm in.
Okay.
I have referrals.
I know, that's what I was
I'm not gonna
thinking,
get a
yeah.
response before the first, so.
12-8.
12/8, thank you.
All right, so that are, from now on.
All right, you want the written subs, 12/8.
Yeah.
That's a lot of. What? This
Okay.
one?
Second call, should we do the second? He's not here yet? Okay. Then moving on to number 3. Keith?
Yes, ma'am. Item 3 on the agenda is Daniel Thorpe, 1103 Brick Hill Road in Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-24-3-16.7. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-11.2 G1 Special Standards to allow the size of an accessory apartment to be 50% of the total floor area of the main dwelling, where a maximum of 35% is permitted.
I am recusing myself from this.
Board has jurisdiction.
Okay, Mr. Daly's recusing himself. Are you an attorney?
No.
Okay, can I swear you in? Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you please state your name and address?
Daniel Thorpe, 1103 Bricktown Road, Sag Harbor, New York, 11963.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thorpe. Do you want to tell us about the application?
Sure. So I'm the applicant and homeowner. My wife and I are permanent residents in Sag Harbor. We have 2 children, one on the way. 2 years ago, our son was born with pretty significant special needs, and the catalyst for this application was to make the legal accessory apartment on our property slightly larger so that my in-laws can move in to help us caretake for our son. And the application is a 12-foot by 24-foot single-story bump out on the first floor with a bedroom, downstairs bedroom, and a den, something that my in-laws can age into as they live with us for many decades to come. And because the existing building would be growing beyond the allowable percentage of our main dwelling, we're here to ask for relief.
Okay, sorry
How
for
big is the accessory apartment gonna be?
It's going,
Square footage wise?
about 1,200 square feet. I think, or 1,250 square feet.
And what do you have, how many bedrooms?
2 total. So the bump, to clarify, the bump out is happening on the interior side of the lot, so it won't be impacting any of the surrounding neighbors. We have both of our neighbors' support in the application. One of our neighbors is St. Andrew's Cemetery as well. We're set back quite a ways from Brick Hill Road, so there's no real visible impact on the neighborhood at all. It's a very wooded lot, so very low visibility of this.
Now, let me ask you, so you submitted a variance for May 16, 2019. So in that variance, you were legalizing
Right,
the accessory building?
right.
So was that accessory building existing when you purchased the property?
Yes.
Okay, and it did
Yes.
not have the benefit of permit?
Correct.
Okay. And at that time, it was already over the maximum of 35% by 4.5%, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So right now, the only real livable bedroom within the apartment is upstairs. And by allowing us to have this bump out downstairs, we can have a bigger bedroom that my in-laws can age into without having to worry about going up and down the stairs when they're in there.
Now, in the decision, you stated that you were legalizing the apartment so that Mrs. Thorpe's parents could reside there. Did they move
Yes.
in?
Yes,
Okay, so they've been living there.
yes.
Okay.
So when you say age into, in
Yes.
other words, that as they age, not having to have an upstairs bedroom?
Correct.
But have a
Yeah.
downstairs bedroom, and then the thought being that at some point, that facility, that accessory apartment would be used by your son?
Yes,
Is it son or daughter?
yes,
Son.
my son.
How old is your son?
2. And what we found out here, trying to raise a son with special needs on the East End, is that there are really, really bad resources for help, services, especially before they get into the school district, so.
May I ask you, your child's special needs, are they with regard to mobility?
Yep, mobility, cognitive, speech,
Okay.
it's a syndrome,
Yeah.
so it's a lifelong thing.
And how old are your in-laws?
Um,
No, you're talking about
60s.
aging into, I'd like
Yeah,
to know
that-
what we're talking about in terms of time.
Yeah,
Very
my,
good question.
yeah, my mother-in-law is 60 and my father-in-law is 62.
Okay. Have you looked into what it would cost to demolish the second floor bedroom? I mean, I know you look quizzically at me, but
Yeah.
the purpose of my question is this.
Yeah.
You're asking us for a significant amount of relief, where we're loath to provide that, and also to create an accessory building, what is ostensibly a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house with a den and kitchen.
Right.
So I think that we would need to know the full range of circumstances surrounding this request. And
Right.
one of those would be, what would it cost to demolish the second bedroom? Because if you did demolish the second bedroom, based upon the plans you have, you would not need the relief that you're asking for.
Demolish the second bedroom on the second floor and
The-
just build it on the first
bedroom-
floor?
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Is that
Yes,
what
the
you mean?
second floor bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
So make it a one-story?
To make it a one-story, because, and your consideration is that you need a one-story facility for either your in-laws as they age or your child as he grows older, which is perfectly understandable. But if you demolish the floor on the second bedroom in this renovation, you would not necessarily need the relief you're asking for, because you would have the habitable square footage within the maximum allowed percentages. Have you even considered that?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a costly undertaking.
Do you know how much that would cost?
Well,
Because we very often ask people to provide us with estimates
Yeah.
from contractors, which identifies how much it would cost to do this plan as opposed to that plan.
right,
Yeah,
right. I don't have those estimates
okay.
for what it would cost to
John,
demolish the
this
second
board
story.
in the past, so you know, has given over 35% relief
Understood,
numerous
and-
times.
understood.
Yeah.
But I'd still like to
And
see all the
main
information in the
dwelling-
record.
The main dwelling is not big, and it's maxed out with, you know.
Understood, but we're
children.
talking about the accessory building.
Yeah, I know,
Right.
I know.
And the concern is that, it's significantly over 35%. And we try very hard to keep requests, close to that number to the extent that we can. And I guess what John's trying to do is explore with you whether there are options that you might consider that would bring it in closer to 35% than, I mean, a 1,200 square foot accessory apartment is, a considerable size. We were just talking about a house at 1,400, so, I mean, it's a big,
Right, and especially on a piece of property where we've already issued a variance to legalize an accessory building that was built without permits.
By a private
So,
owner, yeah.
so we're talking about a certain amount of variance
Yeah.
creep at this point.
Yeah.
I would like to highlight that, I think it's too much relief. And, I don't also understand this, this child is gonna be living in a building with your in-laws, not in the building with his parents, is that right?
no. This is down the road, Helen, that you would transition to that, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm speaking for you, but I think that that's what
This
you
would allow.
indicated.
Yeah,
this
let's
would
have
allow
him
our
tell us.
This, the cottage, the apartment would be, lived in by the in-laws while they help us take care of our son, who would be living with his parents in the main house. Ultimately, our son will never be able to live independent of us, so he will move into the apartment building, but for the next 30 years, we're hoping to be granted relief for the bump out so that, our in-laws can live a little more comfortably in the apartment building.
So they would, for them, you're asking this relief for them as of now, is that right? So they don't have to leave a two-bedroom apartment with them, is that right? We're talking about them.
Correct, I think.
Yeah. I think the sense that some of the people on the board have is that it's too much relief. We understand the circumstances, but this is a significant building, and this relief runs with the land. So if you were to sell that property in 2 years, it would still be there without your special circumstances, trying to convince us that that's worthy. So I think, I don't know, where does everybody stand on this? Bob, what do you think?
It's a little big for,
It's,
I'd like to see a little more work on the application. I'd like you to think about what other configurations there might be. I'd like you to think about demolishing the second floor bedroom and bathroom. And maybe come back to us and present, some changes, taking into account what you've heard from the board today.
Okay. I think financially for us, I don't think we're going to be able to afford to demolish the second story and do this project on the first floor. I mean, we're trying to keep this as modest as possible and just adding a 12 by 24 foot space off of the existing building was just the easiest and most cost-effective way for us to achieve our goal. But if it becomes a bigger project, then we probably would unlikely pursue it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to ask Candace. Candace had basically just said to me that 330.11.2 also says that accessory apartments can't exceed 1,000 square feet. Is that the habitable living space? So
Okay.
do you have the habitable living space of the accessory apartment?
I
or
believe in a
proposed?
chart that was
Because that does
submitted.
exclude,
Yeah.
I'll
does
give you your,
exclude, bathrooms and stuff.
Mechanical spaces.
Yeah, 756.
756.
Okay, so then you comply
Thank
with that.
Right.
Yeah, you said 1,200, that's why I
Yeah.
posed the question.
With the addition, it would be 756
Yeah,
square
for the
feet.
habitable, for the habitable,
Yeah, it's just,
Not the existing, for the existing plus addition.
correct. And only because you're not represented by someone, many times also applicants will say to the board, I'm just gonna help you with this, they'll often say, we don't wanna make our house bigger. It's more expensive for us to make our house bigger to bring this percentage down. And I think that's also something, John's talking about the alternatives for the accessory apartment. The other alternative is to make your house bigger, and that's expensive as well.
right.
But it's something to explore.
Sure, but usually people say, I don't wanna have to make
Exactly.
my house bigger in order to
Right.
get this size accessory apartment. So-
I mean, I think, I understand your position with regard to your, as your in-laws age,
Yeah.
getting up and down the stairs to a
Yeah.
second floor bedroom is difficult.
Right.
There's always, stair lifts and things of that nature to think about. So I just want you to think about
Well,
some other things.
There's also comments from Marjorie Riley. Did she?
Yeah,
did
those
she-
were all addressed.
They were addressed, the
Yes.
20 feet height. She said that the plans prepared show the height of the existing accessory apartment be at 20.9 feet, where maximum is 20 feet.
That was clarified through some additional spot grades shot by the surveyor, and we no
Okay.
longer, it wasn't
Okay.
incorrect, it was incorrect.
Okay, all right, just wanted to make sure. All right, where does the board stand on this?
The application open, and have to come back with, any provisions that he can make, that would make it more hospitable to some members of the board.
The other thing is that you might come back with a cost estimate of what it would mean to, eliminate the second floor bedroom, or to just roof it, or whatever it would be, just, if you could give us a cost
Yeah.
estimate, that would be helpful
I
in
mean,
terms of.
another thing that can be thought about is to convert that into, to agree to he can agree to a condition that it's non-habitable space.
With the upstairs or
Yeah.
a portion of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
turn it into storage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's another option.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to be doing this, but I'm
Yeah.
offering you options.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another thing to think about,
okay.
turning it into
Alright.
storage space. And there is a bathroom, but that doesn't go into the habitable space.
Okay. Okay, well,
Okay.
that sounds productive.
And hey,
give some,
bonus,
give some
storage.
thought to this, because it's a considerable, request.
Yeah, I
and-
realize that, and I appreciate you guys giving me a
And we
consideration.
realize you have special circumstances, so we'd like to be
Absolutely.
helpful.
We're not
as-
just building
as
it
helpful.
bigger to rent it and.
No, I know, but as I said, it
Yeah.
runs with the land.
No, I understand that.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't
Right.
run with the family, so.
And exactly, and what we do for one becomes an
Yeah.
issue for others, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, Keith, were you taking the lead on this?
Yeah, delete on everything, I
I
guess.
know,
I'll,
you
you know, I could take the lead on it
John,
if
do
you'd
you
like.
want to?
I'll take the lead on it.
It's all right.
You got it?
Yeah, you're
All
good.
right, Keith's,
Yeah, you're good.
Keith's taking the lead, okay.
Is anybody on,
Oh, yeah, is there any, I'm sorry.
Hey,
Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on the application of 1103 Brick Hill Road? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on the application of 1103 Brick Hill Road?
I'd like to say something. I'd just like to comment that the applicant does not have to abide by any of the suggestions given by members of the board, and that, as John said, it's his opportunity to rethink the project and come up with a way that it would be more hospitable, and not necessarily anything that's been suggested to him. He's not bound, in my eyes.
Right, and you're not bound to come up with anything. If you want us to consider this application as written, you just run, you have to take a chance on that, so.
Okay.
Okay, Keith, when are we gonna, all right, when are we? January 18th? Okay, Keith?
January 18th?
Yes.
Okay, we'll leave this open for all purposes to January 18th,
Okay.
2024.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you, sir.
Tuthill. Okay, we're up to number 4.
Yes, before you go for, Jim is on Zoom now.
Oh, good.
Okay, but I think, in all fairness, we should call number 4.
Good, no, absolutely, I'm also, you know, he's there, he just said we need.
Okay, good, all right.
He's got a big poster board.
I do. Arts and crafts time.
Okay.
I'm living out Maggie's theater trees.
We're doing 4, or we doing?
We're doing number 4.
I'll just do whatever anybody wants me to do, I just do.
Number 4, do you want to read it?
And you're now going to be the lead on number 4.
Mike, can I agree?
But I think somebody can tell Michael he can come back in. All right.
Okay, number 4 is.
He's talking to Mr.
April
Thorpe.
Suarez and Gonzalo Suarez Delgado. 10 Jones Road, News 4, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-291-2-21. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-11, Residence District Table of Dimensional Regulations for a proposed one-story addition. 1, a principal front yard setback from Pine Tree Lane of 35.7 feet where 40 feet is required, and a principal rear yard setback of 52.5 feet where 60 feet is required, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction, that's at the top.
Are you an attorney?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
Sure. Michael Solinski, the Solinski Law Firm, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, 11976. Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. The variance before you is a request for two bits of dimensional relief. One from Pine Tree Lane, which is the request of 4.3 feet. It's the setback is 35.7, where 40 is required, and 7.5 feet in the rear yard, which is the side opposite of Pine Tree Lane. It's a 7.5 feet rear yard setback. It's 52.5 feet where 60 feet is required. This is a ranch-style house. The Suarez family is growing, and they are trying to expand to make more room as their children enter their teen years. So basically, it's encompassing a garage on the Pine Tree side and a small addition on the rear yard side. It's relatively straightforward. If I can show you the diagram. The relief here is 40 feet to the corner. It's actually marking, but because Pine Tree Lane kind of cuts back into the property slightly, when you keep this 90-degree corner, you end up with this being slightly encroaching into the front yard. Again, we're only talking about a minimum amount of 4.3 feet. And on the back side, we're talking about this area here, where it encroaches 7.5 feet from the side yard.
So part of the problem is the house is on a tilt, a little bit of a tilt. Is that-
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And we're maintaining, and the family's trying to maintain it as a ranch-style house. They considered going and doing a second story, but in order to do that and to do the renovations, they would have had to move out during the construction phase. Very costly for them to do that. They'd have to take their children, trying to find a rental is almost impossible. This allows them to do the additions on both sides without having to exit the property and without raising Mr. Tuttle's ire of going too long and talking like that Benincasa character who was up here before. I can answer.
Don't know him.
Well, it does take him 15 minutes to say good morning every day. So, as council knows, Carla and I used to share an office in this building, and now we share an office together
Well,
in
that's
Waterville.
good to know, because, yeah.
So we've been sharing offices together for a long time. He's like my fifth brother that I never had.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll be sure to convey that to him. Robert, do you have any?
I don't, I think it's minimal.
Yeah.
I think it's very minimal also.
Same.
Michael?
Yes, agreed.
Pete?
Fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty obvious to me that it's, yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. It's
Limited,
keeping,
no impact on anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Can save some time to talk to Carl in the morning.
there you go.
Yeah.
Good, good.
You just caught us up. Thank you.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to this application, 10 Jones Road, Suarez application? Is there anybody on Zoom who wants to speak to this application of 10 Jones Road? Helen, did you want to say?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Kevin, anybody on Zoom? Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All
Good
right.
night.
Thank you.
Robert, you've got this one?
Okay, move to close meeting, hold it open for written submissions till December 1st.
Second,
With- with-
December
December
8th.
8th, second.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Hold on, he's not done yet.
December 8th, with a decision on 12/21.
Second,
Mr. Macedonia,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
All right,
Ms. Burgess.
I just want to check, Robert,
Yes.
is that December 1
No,
We changed to December 8th.
December 8th.
December 8th.
for decision on December 21?
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm up to Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay. All
Back
right.
to number
Now
one.
we're gonna go back to the call,
Schottenstein,
correct? You do the
Yes.
call now because he's on?
Yeah.
Lindsay's here on Zoom.
number 1.
Okay. Keith, number 1.
number 1.
Remind Jim of 3 minutes also.
Diane and Edwin Schottenstein, 47 Meeting House Road, New Suffolk County Tax Map 900-370-1-16. Applicant requests relief from
I think we, yeah,
I
we
read
did.
this.
You did. We're just back calling.
Oh, all right, so sorry.
There's Jen.
Okay.
Actually,
Hi, who's, Jim, are you speaking for the applicants? You along?
Yes, I am. I believe my client is present, watching, but I'm here to speak on their behalf.
Okay, could you
If you're
please,
set to go, I'm
yeah,
ready to
state
go.
your name and address, please?
For the applicant, James N. Hume, 323 Mill Road, West Hampton Beach, New York.
Okay, tell us about the application.
Okay, so my client owns property located at 27 Meeting House Lane in Quiot, New York. It's located in the villages, in the town's R20. It's about 15,000 square feet in size. And what they're proposing is a two-story addition on the west side of the property, a one-car garage below, and expanded bedroom space above. If this relief is granted, the house will have 6 bedrooms in it. And I'd just like the board to know that my clients have a permit from the health department already for a 6-bedroom project. So that shouldn't be of concern. The relief that is needed is related to total side yard, and front yard. The property was in single and separate ownership since before 1952, except for 4 months actually, in 1977. So, but for that, the side yard relief we would be looking for, we would need it. In looking at the ownership, I provided with the original application a single and separate search that identified this exception. And it appeared to be a transfer back and forth between related individuals, a husband and a wife, and the wife's family and the husband's family. So it just seemed to result from some confusion over who was going to be entitled in what. And probably, I would suggest that little gap shouldn't be held against the applicant, at least in considering the relief in question. As I indicated, the fourth area of relief is very small, 83 cubic feet of pyramid relief, which I think is substantially, is quite small. The house is without a garage, and so that was really what was driving the application to the inlet. The lot, as I indicated, is on the smaller side. There's substantial vegetation between this property and the property to the west. And so there's already ample screening. We are moving 5 feet closer than permitted. But as I indicated, but for the 4 months, we wouldn't even have to ask for that. And the other relief being relatively small. The front yard relief relates to the stoop that is part of this project. The existing house is not moving closer to the road, but a covered entryway is being added so that they can stand out of the rain as they're opening the front door. So that's, in a nutshell, the application.
Jim, where is that setback, that 3805?
That was a question I had. It's not on the survey.
That's a good question.
It's on the plans. There's like a survey on the plans,
Right.
and it's from the lot line to the stoop.
Right.
But it's not on the survey.
But on the survey, the only thing there, Jim, is that 39.2 feet.
Right. So we are a couple of feet closer.
Okay, well, can you revise your survey, please?
Get the survey amended and submitted if necessary.
It's necessary.
Yes.
Okay, we will do that.
And what were you saying? You said, because you and I had talked about this before, you said they do have Suffolk County Health Department approval?
Yes.
So the
they have,
existing,
health department approval for a 6-bedroom house.
That's what
Which
already
will become
exists.
If this relief is granted, and I can submit that as well.
No, but I'm saying so the septic septic system that exists handles that, or you'll
No,
be,
it's for a new septic system.
new septic system? Thank you.
Okay, okay.
Which is not plotted on the survey either, right?
I don't think so. I don't see it on the survey, Jim. Is it on the survey?
I'm having a little difficulty hearing you guys.
Is the septic on the survey? We don't see it.
No, it's not on that survey.
Okay.
I do have a survey with the approved plan on it, which I can submit.
Please.
All right, so you basically need to provide us with a survey that correctly identifies the setback for the stoop? Is that the one that we're concerned with?
Yes.
Yep,
Right.
3805.
Yeah, okay.
And the IA system.
And a copy of the approved IA system.
Right, on the, and on the survey.
Well, does it have to be on the survey, or can it be sent along with? Do we have a standard of that?
No, I
Generally,
don't think
it's-
we do, right? No, no.
No, it doesn't have to be plotted on the survey, but if
No.
it's,
I mean, the building department will ask for
The
it.
building department asks for it, that's something we usually ask for.
Okay.
But
But
if
it-
he has it, he wants to
But
have
they
the
usually
approval,
put
we
it
can.
on, I've seen it so many times on the
Sometimes yes.
surveys, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so it's not required, but suggested.
Well, usually they put it on when they say, I can't put my garage here because here's
Oh,
my
so-
septic.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also to prove that they're upgrading their septic system, so it's a plus to put it on. Okay, who's,
I was just thinking if he had it with the.
It's not mine.
yeah.
Helen's.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he's gonna submit that, the approval, yeah.
Helen, you heard that, right? That they're installing new sanitary system?
15 with
20,
38 with
Jim, you know that was very concerning.
That's okay, this is
Yes, that's why I endeavored to get the answer for you.
That was, you know, it was a 6-bedroom house.
Yep,
Yeah,
understood.
That house is not that big.
It's not.
No, I went to visit it.
is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on the application for, the Schottensteins at 27 Meeting House Road? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard?
Yeah,
No one?
The homeowner?
Homeowner?
The homeowner's coming on? Okay.
No,
Okay.
no.
You want to say something?
Okay.
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 So we're on this one. Okay,
they're not joining.
Okay,
They're not joining? Okay,
okay.
thank you.
I think Jim has put their case together very nicely.
Yes, okay. All right, so this is, Helen, this is yours.
Yeah. Okay, Jim and everybody, we're gonna close the public hearing. And you've been given some instructions, Jim, as to what you need to do. And you need to provide that with a written submission by December 8th, and we will have your decision on December 20th.
Second.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Burgess,
Good night, all.
Ms. Burgess?
Night.
Did you say aye, Helen?
Helen, did you say aye?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Mr. Daly? Mr. Daly? Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia?
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill?
Aye.
Aye, chair votes aye. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're up to
6.
6.
Okay.
Okay, 6 is Town of Southampton Housing Authority, 140 Maple Avenue in Flanders, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-145-2-54. Applicant requests a determination as to whether or not the proposed detached garage with accessory apartment above is a subordinate or incidental building pursuant to Town Code 330-5 definitions because of its size in proportion to the main dwelling and its use. In addition, the applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. 1, for a proposed one-family, two-story dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 330-6, general regulations that references 330-11, Residence District Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback from the westerly property line, Maple Avenue, from 40 feet to 23.7 feet. And 330-105, schedules of minimum and maximum floor area from 1,200 square feet to 997 square feet. And 2, for a proposed attached garage with accessory apartment above. 330-11, for an accessory distance from street front yard from the northerly property line, Wilson Street, from 50 feet to 42.6 feet. 330-77C, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in residence districts to allow a height from 20 feet to 22.7 feet, and to allow a proposed rear yard coverage of 56%, where maximum of 50% is permitted. 330-84D, pyramid height for an encroachment of 1,639 cubic feet on the east side. 330-11.2F, accessory apartment special standards for the following. A lot area from 30,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet. For a principal front yard setback from the westerly property line, Maple Avenue, of 23.7 feet, where 28 feet is required. 70% of the required 40 feet. To be 49.7% of the main dwelling, where a maximum of 35% is permitted. Further, applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-77A as it relates to 330-94, schedule of off-street parking space requirements for residential uses to allow an accessory parking area consisting of 2 additional parking spaces to be located within the required front yard along on the northerly side of the property, Wilson Street, to wit, a total of 6 parking spaces in the required front yard, where a total of 4 spaces is allowed, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction, can you pass that to John, I think, or Frank?
Yes.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please state your name and address.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board. I understand how difficult these evenings can be sometimes. And my name is Curtis Highsmith. I'm the Executive Director for the Town of Southampton Housing Authority. And I'm presenting another application for affordable housing program under the town's program. This is a property required on Maple, corner of Maple and Wilson. We're proposing a single-family home with a 2-car garage, accessory apartment above garage. I don't need to tell you how difficult it is to create affordable housing out here in the east end of Long Island. So nine times out of 10, the lots that we do acquire, they need a whole booklet full of exceptions in order for us to get anything done. So I appreciate hearing all of the challenges that we have to incur, but you know, I want to definitely be able to justify some of the reliefs that we're requesting, all the reliefs that we're requesting. We'll start first with the entire community itself. Basically exists of all non-conforming lots. The majority of the lots in that community are under 10,000 square foot. So each house and each home in that area pretty much conforms to kind of what the vernacular, what we're trying to produce here in terms of a modest style single-family home. The look we were looking for in terms of this particular project was twofold. One, to also try to adhere to the town of Southampton's accessory apartment guideline, trying to find means in which to insert additional affordable units without overdeveloping and without maximizing or overdoing any specific lot, or introducing something that's we consider to be overdense. So in this scenario, we're I think the first one we'll start with is the minimum maximum floor area. I believe that the minimum was 1,200 square feet, where we're requesting 997. If we were to add the additional square footage to make it minimum, we may run into an issue where we separate one variance for another. Basically, by doing so, we'll be adding, requesting and coming back before you for possible lot coverage variance, rather than just asking for
Square
maximum
footage
floor area.
on which building? The primary
This is the
building?
primary.
Okay.
It would also cost more money
And
to
it would
build.
cost a lot more money to do so. We want to definitely, we're looking at the affordability of this, and this particular lot, because of the challenges that we're incurring, we must try to do the best we can to keep it as low cost as possible. One of the comments that were made earlier with regards to the covenants for the affordability, we have covenants on all of our lots. So this will be kept by the housing authority. However, if ever sold in the future, there will be a covenant on the property that it must the accessory structure must be affordable in perpetuity. It's also part of the town's program that all accessory apartment lots be a part of the affordable housing program as well. So they would have to comply either under the covenant or under the town requirement.
What's the habitable living space of the main building?
900, yes.
997 square feet.
997.
That's first and second floor?
Yes. It's tiny.
No.
No, I'm
Can't
sorry. That's
possibly
the
be.
coverage. I'm sorry, that's the lot coverage. You're asking
No, no,
square
no.
footage for the entire house. I apologize.
997?
The habitable.
Well, what is the total floor area is calculated differently, which I think may be in the comments from the building department. The total floor area that you usually calculate, which is habitable living space, where the percentage is 35%, is calculated different in that section 33105. And I think the building inspector may have explained that somewhere in his comments.
All right, let's
So
see.
that 997 may not all be habitable.
The second floor, yeah, 497 with respect to the overall size of the attached dwelling.
All right, wait a second. Let's get this straight because it's very confusing right now.
Okay.
All right, so the main dwelling, do we have habitable space for the main dwelling?
Well, according to the notes, it says the main dwelling has a first floor area of 726 square feet and a second floor area of 290 square feet for a total of 1,016 square feet.
Right.
The accessory apartment and detached garage.
Is that habitable space? That's
Yeah,
the first
my question is how much of that is habitable
Right,
space? That's the
right.
first question I have.
Okay, so, all right, so the main building,
Do you, yeah, Mr. Highsmith, do you have that at your fingertips?
I don't have that, no, I do
Okay.
not. Sorry.
okay.
So that question needs to be answered. And then we have a statement that the detached garage with accessory apartment is not considered customary and incidental, that it has a first floor area of 668 square feet and a second floor area of 497 square feet for a total of 1,165 square feet. Do we know how much of the second floor how much habitable space is in the second floor apartment?
So the total square footage for the garage is 1,165 square feet.
1,165.
Right, so we need to know the habitable space for that too.
Okay.
We're not reading, floor area as habitable space.
No.
Is that right?
Understood.
Not
So
necessarily.
you're excluding bathrooms?
Oh,
It's a few different things here.
well, isn't it a portion of the floor area, the total floor area?
When it comes to 33105, which is the minimum and maximum floor area,
Mm-hmm.
that's why he put that it was computed in accordance with that specific regulation, which is different than the habitable living space calculation that you usually use when you do 35%, which is in section 331.2F. So if I'm not mistaken, the architect on the plans did the habitable living space calculation, which would be for the accessory apartment calculation. And then there's also, like I said in the building department's comments, the architect sent in an email to say what the overall floor area was in accordance with 33105. So you're looking at, in this case, more than one percentage calculation.
Plus we need the overall accessory interpretation.
Right, which I believe he may also have in the plans. So technically, there's 3 different calculations you're looking at in this one application.
Okay.
And it came in 3 different documents.
3 different computations.
So,
John, you have
And-
the small set of plans? Do you have the small set of plans? That's in the-
I have the huge set of plans.
I do too. No, yeah.
No, that's the survey.
That's the survey.
I have the huge set.
I have the enormous plans.
Well, I don't have, no, I have smaller.
Can I just ask a question while you're?
Yeah, please.
Curtis, I'm just curious, does this require, a sanitary flow or anything from the town?
We've already received that from.
So from the town?
From the town.
Okay, the reason why I say this to the board is, because I have to leave, but I just wanna make, this is important, that in considering something like this, when you're deliberating, the good thing, or the one thing to consider is that a development right has been secured for this.
Correct.
So this is
Oh,
a
okay.
density neutral, project.
Mhm.
So we're not creating any additional density, because we're bringing in the development right to
We've
accomplish
already
it. So I
used
just, I
the
wanna say
development
that's part of.
That's for
this.
all accessory apartments, not just this one.
What's that?
That's for all accessory apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah,
no,
but
that's-
this-
that's
but they've
what I'm
gotten-
saying, but that,
they've
you know,
gotten-
if there's
Anybody who's
density
come before
question
you
about it.
has already secured one.
We would have to exhaust one credit.
Okay.
Or-
Okay, well, I'm looking at, there's a chart here with habitable living space for
Okay.
Small set.
bedroom 1, 2, 3, kitchen, living room, dining room, total of 620. That, I believe, is the main house. And then it states that the apartment is 308 square feet, but I haven't seen, leaving a percentage of 49.7, which is the relief that's being requested.
And that's the relief that's under 331.2F.
Okay.
The maximum is 35%, so that's one calculation.
Okay, that's one.
49.7.
So where do we have, what
All
documentation?
right, so wait a second, that's under what section?
330.11.2F is in front. That's where it says you can't be in excess of 35%.
That's the one that we usually apply.
Yes.
Okay,
That's the one that you just heard for the last accessory
last one.
apartment.
okay.
Okay.
So where are the calculations
And what's the
for, what is it,
330?
331,
Oh, 105.
105.
105?
Let me see if they're on there.
Where are
They might
those?
be on the-
Here it
actually,
is.
they might-
Page A70. Habitable living space, bedroom 1, 110, kitchen 57, living room, dining room 141, total 308.
No.
But
No.
but it gives us the same percentage.
No, that's not it. Actually, it may not be on the plans. It was an email sent to Art Gerhausen, the principal building inspector, from
Okay.
Ryan Kessler, who is the architect. And Art Gerhausen asked him to give the calculations in accordance with 33105A. And Mr. Kessler's response was first floor 725 square feet, second floor 272.
Hold on. I want to write this down.
First floor was 725, what was the,
Second floor
Where is my piece of paper?
272.
and that's for the accessory apartment or the main?
That would be for,
The main.
that's for the main one.
That's for the main.
Okay.
And
So-
I thought the copy was in the file, but I'll.
No,
I'll
it's
email
not
to
in
make sure it's there.
So I apologize, I'm gonna make you
No.
repeat it. So under 33105, the main dwelling is what?
Main dwelling, first floor, 725.
Okay.
Second floor, 272.
And the accessory apartment?
The accessory apartment, there's no relief for that, for the accessory apartment.
Okay.
That relief is only for the main dwelling.
In other words, you're supposed to have 1,200,
Correct,
but they only have 997.
correct.
Right. So
So where does that put us?
Needing a variance.
we need a variance
Right,
on,
okay, I
so we
see,
need a
I see.
variance on that. We need a
203
variance
feet.
on the size of the accessory apartment versus the main.
Correct.
Okay, I see what we're doing.
Okay, and what was the third one you had? Another one you said?
The overall size, with respect to the subordinate residential use, that comparison is the overall building, which I don't think I have. It may be on the plan, I don't know.
But the 25%, or what?
Yes,
Yeah,
the-
so in other words, the building
25%
itself,
policy, yes.
yeah, so the main building versus the second building, and that's 25%.
Yeah, and this may be bigger. This accessory structure may be
Looks
bigger than the
huge.
house.
Yeah,
Because it's a garage.
It's
as
a
well
garage,
as
two-car
an
garage.
accessory
I know what it
apartment.
is, I'm just saying.
yeah, but it looks like it's at least the same size, because, yeah.
I'm just trying to
Yeah, I mean, just based on the numbers that Curtis gave us before, the house was like 1,016 and the apartment garage was 1,165.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
read-
Oh, it's much larger.
Read comment number 3. That's what the building inspector says, with respect to the overall size of the
Right.
detached garage or accessory apartment above, is not considered customary incidental in that it has, and it lists.
Yep, that's what I was reading.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's the overall size
So
subordinate
that's,
incidental.
so that's another variance that is needed, right?
Okay, so far we need 3 different variances, with 1 accessory structure. Well, 1 for the house and 2 for the accessory.
Yes, until you get to.
Yeah,
One
To
for the
get to the
house, one
setbacks.
for the accessory, and one
Right.
for the whole.
One for the whole thing.
1 for the whole thing.
Okay.
And why is it important to have that size house and an accessory apartment on this property? What's the reason for that?
Well, we started building, this will be our 3rd project doing accessory apartments. And we started doing the accessory apartment just because of obviously the lack of affordability. But the main house becomes ADA compliant. That's the reason why the configuration it becomes ADA accessible. So that a person who has
Describe
mobility.
what that is, Americans with Disability, yeah. So,
Correct.
but say it because, there's an audience, so we need to like,
So
not talk
under
in
the
jargon.
American with Disabilities Act, we ensure that a person who has mobility concerns or issues or challenges is able to reside or inhabit the resident without any issues, without any concerns. As a matter of fact, the home is built on grade, so there's ramps and certain pitches that we put to ensure that even wheelchair accessibility is available. The second story, and what we've learned just from the accessory structures that we've been doing, is we're doing a detached structures because people are not, it becomes very difficult for individuals who own homes who typically are family residents. When there's a single family or a accessory apartment, typically that's a young person. And we're talking about two time limits, two lifestyles. People are usually having two different calendars. They find it very difficult to coexist together. So we typically like to have the accessory apartment detached so that there's not shared walls. There's if a person wants to entertain at specific times, it's an easier transition than a person who may have 2 or 3 kids or children in the home. They have that separation, they feel that separation. And that's why we start doing the detached. And the importance of it, obviously, just the lack of the availability. We don't do basements because we want to ensure that individuals are not going to create additional living or illegal living in the basement. So that's the reason why the garage comes into play, because of storage. There's a lack of storage, lack of areas for us to be able to enable individuals to place their belongings. So the garage becomes important for both the person above the garage as well as the inhabitants of the house or the main dwelling.
Why a 2-bedroom accessory apartment?
It's a 1-bedroom.
opposed-
It says 2-bedroom
Says
apartment on
2-bedroom.
there.
Yeah, we're going to, that's going to be reduced. we had a situation where we believe that the neighbor came and I wanted to add that on when we came in further. We had a neighbor call. I purposely put our signs on the property for some time, so the individuals could call to find out what the situation is and ask and give us their concerns. One of the neighbors was concerned with the density and with the amount of people occupying the property. He thought it would be too much. So we will be transitioning this to a one-bedroom.
Does that take the size down?
Well, it doesn't take the size down for the garage, because the garage still,
The habitable area. I
Correct.
mean, you know, we've got these three different variances.
what probably will happen is we'll reduce the second story to maybe a story and a half, and we'll be able to put a gable.
Okay, that was my question. I
That-
had in my notes, 2 bedrooms above the garage, but when you look in the plans, there's only appears to be 1 bedroom.
Correct.
Yeah, because 2 bedrooms and 300 and something square
We-
feet would be small bed.
It'd be a very small
Be
bedroom.
very tight, yeah.
So we made the change or adjustment to a 1-bedroom.
Did
You
that
would- you would
change
have to
any of the
reflect-
footages or not?
No,
It
not,
didn't?
not on the initial
Okay.
plan,
Okay.
but if you've, not in the initial plan, it didn't change the actual configuration, didn't change the square footage. What happened was we changed the wall arrangement.
Okay.
Your whole application's gonna have to reflect that.
Understood.
So, 900 square foot house, 300 square foot accessory, but a 600 square, a 900 square foot or 1,000 square foot accessory building because of the garage.
Correct.
Almost 1,200 square feet.
1,200.
Yeah.
And significantly higher percentage.
Yeah.
Very high percentage.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand why the apartment has to be that big. I understand it's a 1-bedroom, but by the same token, I'm not sure.
Well,
The
300
habitable space was, I believe, was
308
not
square
under
feet.
1,000 square foot, the habitable space, correct?
Of the house?
Of the apartment.
Of the apartment,
The
but it's in comparison to the habitable space of the house. Because that is one
Per
of the
floor.
variances you're looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. It's 50% of the house.
Is there a way to increase the size of the house?
No.
You said that
Yeah, well, we.
you would
we-
have coverage issues with that, right?
Correct.
And price issues, I'm sure.
We have coverage issues, we have price issues.
Okay.
This is probably, this is going to be a modular. It's going to be very difficult already to get this on site. So, pricing this out, it's going to be very challenging too. So we're trying to do our best to keep the expenses down.
Well, seeing what you're trying to accomplish here, I don't have a problem.
I don't need that.
Let's talk a little before we move on to the setbacks.
Yes.
And have you heard from neighbors?
Again, there were no concerns about any of the setbacks. The main concern was, well, the one comment, which I won't address, had to do with who would be living there and whether it would be Section 8. But the main concern was the driveway, the configuration of the driveway coming out. I do have to go to road review because that is a private road. I was holding off on the application for road review to see what the comments were of this board, because the configuration may have changed if there was some comments of this board.
Are you gonna be coming in off of Wilson or
Wilson.
Mills or Maple?
By design, I wanted to do off of Wilson, just because we are gonna have a family and a single person in an apartment, less traffic. It would be more difficult backing out into a main threshold of Maple.
And you have parking for 6 spaces?
A garage being 2,
Yeah.
then 2 in the driveway, and we had a bump out leaving, but we can add additional parking if needed.
No, you're
But,
asking for a variance for
I'm asking
parking.
for variance. But,
Yeah, but where were you gonna put it?
well, in the bump out.
2 in the garage, yeah.
Yeah.
And a little bump out
The little
here.
bump out here creates 1 car, 2 in the garage, 2 in the driveway, and we're gonna have to probably extend that driveway out to allow, the bump out to allow for 2 cars. That's the only way we can configure
Okay,
this.
you're gonna be putting that on the survey?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to. You have
Okay.
to show where they're gonna go.
rear yard coverage, do we have an issue with that? I have a question mark here.
Which bump out? That bump out right now does not,
Right here, I think,
yeah, so that does not currently accommodate 2 cars?
currently.
I was told one.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna locate the parking on the,
Yes.
okay, on the survey. Helen, do you have any questions?
I have no problem with this application.
Okay. So let me ask, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard about the application for 140 Maple Avenue in Flanders? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on the application of 140 Maple Avenue in Flanders?
No one on Zoom.
Okay.
So that I
John,
understand and I can come back with
Yeah.
information.
you have a couple of things to come back with, yeah,
know, I
so I
get
think
it.
you're gonna have to come back.
I'm
Okay.
concerned about the size of the accessory apartment, to be quite honest with you.
So we can scale down, we're gonna have height issues, and if we reduce it anymore.
How big is the accessory apartment?
The accessory apartment is, I think it was under 1,000 square feet for the.
997?
No.
Accessory apartment is 900?
No, the
No,
building.
no, no,
the
no,
building.
no,
sorry.
no, no. The entire thing is 1165, and then the accessory apartment, from what I can tell, is maybe 308 square feet.
Yes.
I just want, because you said you had a problem with the size of the accessory apartment at 308 square feet?
Yeah, it's 50% the size of the
It's
house.
50% of the size of the house. That's the concern that I have.
Is the size of the apartment?
No, 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 I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, it's too small or too big.
Okay,
It's
that's
too
what I
big
was-
in relation to
No, no, that
the
I
primary
understand.
house. And I think that, and my issue with it,
That sounds tiny, 300 square feet.
Yeah, and if the accessory apartment is 300 and something, and the house is 900 and something, well, then it seems like it's a third.
Yeah, that's what,
Not
that's why, I think, you
Not-
know, we need to get some clarification specifically on
size
what
of
the
all of
sizes
those.
are.
Okay.
And what the various
I will
variances.
make sure the next meeting, the
Yeah,
architect is here to be
okay,
able to.
yeah.
and
I-
I mean,
that would
and
be
there's,
very helpful.
right, and I mean, look, it's not a huge lot, I get it. But by the same token, and I believe in affordable housing,
Thank you.
absolutely. However,
It's always a but.
there's always a but.
Well, let's see what you come back with.
I would just like to see what
because
else we can do with regard to the size of the accessory apartment or the size of the house, or, you know, it's just,
Well,
it
you know.
just seems like a little too much relief.
If I increase the house and then we, and which I have no problem with, but that's asking for an additional relief, both from setback and lot coverage. So does it become now to add, at least make the picture look more acceptable? I increase the density of the house. That doesn't, kind of takes away from some of the arguments people say with
Right.
regards to adding density to a community.
Right, no, I understand. And are we looking to, I mean, how many people would you think are going to be living in this accessory apartment? 1, 2?
One.
One, okay. So there is a potential for it to be a studio,
Or a couple, yeah.
or,
Or a couple, yeah.
yeah. But
And
there,
Donna, would you say, can I clarify?
yeah,
I think what I hear you saying is you said accessory, you're concerned about the size of the accessory apartment. I think, are you saying you're concerned about the size of the accessory structure with the apartment and the garage being so high compared to the primary structure?
the relative sizes
Of the
of the habitable space in each of the buildings, and the fact that we're gonna be, that we are asked to give a variance for, 15%.
50%.
50%.
No, but it's 35 to
Oh, yeah.
50, it's
Over,
15%. We're being asked for 15% of relief, and I think that that's a lot.
Well, we've done that before.
I understand that. I
And we'll
understand
also
that.
address on the record that, this is a community benefit. So it's not, it's not.
Understood.
It's a private individual asking for the relief. This
Well,
is
we
act-
just had a private individual asking for the relief, and we told him to go back to the drawing board.
Correct.
And so.
For his aging
and I-
parents.
Right, and I
And
understand.
he was also
Right.
making one of those structures,
handicapped
ADA,
child.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yes.
very similar to this
It's
application.
very similar, and
With
so.
less relief.
I feel like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. And so I'd like to see what else could be done,
Okay.
if anything.
Okay, I think
Before
you're
we make
gonna
any
be coming
decisions.
back. You've got some, specific figures to come up with.
If I
Let's get-
convert the unit to a studio, you're saying that you would be more
I think that'd be great. If you could come in line with the code more,
Okay.
and so asking us for less relief, I would be comfortable with that. And we're still providing affordable housing, which is a laudable goal, especially in this town. But
We will look at it.
Rome wasn't built in a day,
Okay.
My job definitely hasn't.
as you well know.
Okay, yes, so we
You
have,
Get all your numbers right. and
Yeah.
the size
we'll,
of the
next time I'll have the
structure,
architect
To
come
get
in.
the
habitable area
survey.
in each of the structures
Yeah, the
broken
survey
out.
collected, figure out the parking.
Okay.
I don't really have any issues with the setbacks on this. They're small
Oh, the
lots.
setbacks,
Are really, they're small lots, you're trying to be accommodating. Let's see what we can do in terms of, the size comparison. Again, people look at us and they say, well, you're letting, 50%, on some and, 35 on others. So we're trying to be consistent.
I understand.
And let's see how consistent we can be,
so
okay?
when would you like to come back?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
All right.
18th? Well, we're at January 18th. Okay, you don't get to choose.
Oh. 18?
So, I move to hold, oh wait, we need to find out if there's anybody else.
Oh,
No, look,
is
I'm-
there, thank you very
hopping the
much
gun.
for telling me my job, which I'm still learning. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on, what's the address here? I think I did ask
You
one
did
forty
ask. I
Maple.
don't think you
And we
checked with
asked,
the-
I think I asked on,
Okay.
is
Oh,
there
did
anyone
we?
on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 140?
Oh, that's right, and then I opened my mouth again.
Yes, Maple Avenue? Okay.
You're doing an excellent job. I chaired for 13 years, and I'm gonna tell you, it's the hardest job you ever had.
It's not easy. Okay, John, it's yours. Let's.
The 4th, January 4th?
Fourth?
Okay,
Love
so
it.
I move to hold the hearing, the public hearing on this open to January 4th.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Messner.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
We know
Ms.
what you're gonna be doing
Burgess?
New Year's Eve.
Oh,
Chair votes aye. Okay.
Good.
Curtis, we'll see you January.
Thank you so much.
thank you,
Be
sir.
well.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're up to,
7, Susan and James Merrill.
Huh?
31 Carlisle Lane in Sag Harbor, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-76-4-6. This is,
Hold over. Or you adjourn.
okay. This is a adjourn, so we don't have to read it, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
so, are you an attorney?
Yes.
Okay.
Bailey Larkin with Bennett and Reed, offices at 212 Windmill Lane in Southampton. And Jim Merrill is here this evening, who is the property owner and the architect as well on this project.
Are you an attorney?
I am not.
Okay. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Could you please state your name and address?
James Merrill, 31 Carlisle Lane, Sag Harbor.
Okay. So, Bill, you want to tell us about the
Sure.
application?
This is a request for relief to allow construction of a detached garage within the required setbacks for the principal dwelling. This property is approximately 15,700 square feet, located in the Knollcrest Woods subdivision in Sag Harbor. There is an existing residence on the property. At the time that we filed this application, there was a proposed pool. The pool is now built. So our survey shows proposed, but is actually essentially completed. Building permit still remains open though. We're looking to construct a 505 square foot detached garage adjacent to the existing house. It would maintain a side yard setback of 10.2 feet and total side yard setbacks of 30 feet, where 35 are required for the principal dwelling. The garage has been located to comply with the accessory structure setbacks, so which are 10 feet off the side property line, so we comply with that. I did include with the application itself, attached to our application as Exhibit A was a copy of a variance that was granted for the immediately adjacent property on the corner of Collingsworth Drive, 19 is the address. And it's the matter of First SMPD LLC.
In that application, this board had granted relief to allow construction of a detached garage within a required side yard for principal dwelling. And that garage was located at 10.1 feet off the property line. We're at 10.2. The location of the garage, just to, it also serves the benefit of kind of screening this property. These are tight lots in the subdivision, and the adjacent property owner has constructed a pool about 15 feet off the property line. It's a one-story garage, nothing else, just garage and storage, and it does comply with pyramid requirements, so no relief is sought from pyramid requirements. I do have one letter I was hoping to submit with the board from a property owner at 11 Collingswood, who actually gave his support for this application.
There should be a letter from this one. We have that. We can sub-
505 is a pretty modest garage.
It's
That's the original
A
bill,
one-
Susan?
one time.
One-car garage.
And it's facing
Oh, is that, that letter, is that from the neighbor to the east?
It's not, he's actually a little bit north of this property. On
He's a little bit
Commons.
north.
The letter is from Catty Corner, the neighbor who is behind me, off Collingswood. I don't know.
What about the neighbor to your east?
The neighbor to the east has a letter, I thought it was in the package. He's the one who just received the same variance basically for the side yard setback for his garage, last January.
Now, I understand there was a shed removed.
The shed, I have a shed in the back that was where the pool is, that I put in the front temporarily on blocks until, actually until I get a garage. Or don't get a garage, and then
But
I have to
your
get rid of it.
intent, you know, I think I met your wife when I
Yeah,
came
yeah.
to the property, and she said that you were
Oh.
intending to remove the shed.
Yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah, I know, you couldn't wait, and the neighbor was getting used to seeing it, so that was very funny. I went to this property, it's not intrusive, the garage, it's modest, it's well screened, the property is very well screened, and, I have no problem with this application.
I was looking at the comments from the building inspector discussing the lot being overcleared. Have you guys addressed those
We will be
comments?
addressing that comment.
Okay.
And I think his comment specifically says we'll have to address it with building and planning.
Building and planning, yeah.
Before we can get a building permit.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
So you've seen these comments?
We have.
Okay.
Okay.
I would just, if I could add that because the lot to the east is on the corner and the house faces Collingswood, the backyard of that house is facing the side of my house, and it was always a kind of, with the previous owner, there was always kind of a sound issue, because it's also about 3 feet higher than our lot, because it tapers down. So now they have a pool that's elevated 3 feet out of the lot, and I know it's, you know, when that gets active, it's gonna be, so partly my garage is
Sound
driven
barrier.
by the
It's
sound.
a sound
So,
barrier, yeah.
the,
What is all of that? Is that
This is
where
the
there
construction
was-
of the pool.
Oh, that was a,
Yeah.
it was in
Yeah,
construction.
and this is
okay.
the garage that got the variance.
Okay.
Because it was, again, it's in front of the back of the house, right? That creates the side yards, the coming. Now, that's a minor version, my back of my house, because it's L-shaped, is actually farther back, so there isn't even a non-conforming place I could put it.
Right.
yeah, it seems reasonable to me. But you said that this neighbor to the east has written a letter?
Yes, I got it a long time ago, I thought it was in the files.
I
I'm
haven't
sure I
seen
have
it.
a copy.
If you could
No.
make sure that it's
If I-
part of a written submission.
Sure.
We get it, we actually wrote him a letter, we traded letters.
You better write a letter for me.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? 31 Carlisle Lane. I should have asked anybody on the board first. Is anybody on the board?
It's okay, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Helen, do you want to make any comments? Okay. Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on the application of Morel, 31 Carlisle Lane? Okay, it's mine, so I am going to, have hold this open for written submissions until December 8th, with a decision on December 21st.
Second.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia, Ms. Burgess, Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay.
Thank you very much.
much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
I don't think this one is here.
Okay, item 12 on the agenda, Ronette Riley, 873 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, in Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-53-1-38.2.
Is there anybody here for this application?
She's gonna be on Zoom.
Is she on Zoom?
I don't know, but that's Kevin, I'm not sure if she,
Kevin, do you see Ronette Riley or somebody on Zoom for 873 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Come on down.
Didn't get anything.
Nothing.
We remember which one was?
Riley, Bridgehampton Sag Harbor.
Yeah.
It was another detached garage.
John, you're killing me first.
I'm running everybody's stuff over.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, but
Yeah,
there
that
you
was-
are.
there you are.
Let Anna Idescu also in as a panelist,
Okay,
and
I need to, you've been sworn in, but we need to swear in anybody else.
right,
Okay,
one of my associates.
okay. Anna, are you an attorney?
No, she's an architect.
Okay, then, Anna, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? We can't hear you, Anna.
Yes, I do.
Plug in the
Sorry
next
about
one.
All right, please state your name and address.
Can we share?
Yes.
Yeah, we need Anna's
Ron.
name and address first for
Name
the record.
and address. Anna.
My name is Anna Iwasu, and my address is 510 82nd Street, apartment 3C, Brooklyn, New York, 11201.
Did you get that?
yes, I have it on the email.
Okay. Okay, so tell us what's going on.
Okay, we last met in August. I thought I'd be back in September, but I had to really think about what I was going to do based on the comments. We were asking for relief. Can we share the drawings, Anna?
Yes, you can share, if you can get it up on the thing, we'd love to see it.
Just a second.
We were coming before the zoning board to request relief from the height and also square footage percentage for an accessory dwelling apartment.
Okay,
This is what we proposed. We were slapped down over the size. So we had to think about what we would do. This is a drawing of an as of right, but we didn't think it was very satisfying. And so go to the next one. So we said, okay, let's connect the two buildings. So the main house and the garage with the apartment above. I currently have with a C of O, perfectly as of right, or whatever you wanna call it, garage. We wanted to rebuild the garage and put an apartment on top. We've now connected the two buildings,
And,
with.
yeah, I can show you, on the site plan here, sorry about that, the file's a little slow. But yeah.
So the two they're connected. And we looked at connecting it, on the ground floor, but it goes into a garage and a pool bathroom. So we looked at maybe cantilevering a connection at the second floor, and then we just built a two-story because of the costs and everything. It just made it simpler. So go to the next one. So this is a rendering of the garage, connected to the house. This connection allowed us to add another bedroom to the house and a studio, gym, whatever, on the ground floor. Next slide, that's the back. To the extreme right is the garage and accessory apartment, and the house with the two-story addition. Right now, half of that connection is already there, so we're just extending it another 12 feet.
Okay. What relief are you going to be seeking?
None, but it's so it's all, if I connect it, we're within the dimensions, and, but I was told I had to come back to the zoning board even though I'm not requesting any relief. It's still the same height. The percentage of the accessory apartment to the main house is under the 35% requirement, and we fall within the pyramid. So, we don't need any
Ronette,
relief.
it looks like a very good solution, and I think we were suggesting you to look at that the last time you were here.
Yes, you were.
It looks really good to me. I'm hoping that you're pleased with it, and I assume the building department would let us know if they needed any variances, and they haven't, so.
She just withdraw her.
Yeah, so at this,
I wouldn't suggest that she withdraw, just let the building department see
Yeah.
the plan, to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure there's no additional variances that might have been.
okay, so I don't know if you heard Candace, but
I
she's.
can't hear.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat what she said. She said, you know, you probably should not withdraw the application at this point, but submit your plans and make sure that the building department doesn't have any concerns or issues that it considers need variance relief. And,
Okay.
but it sounds like it's not probable, but just to be on the safe side, it's good to check.
Right, and these show a separation between the two. This particular drawing shows the space between the buildings, but they're attached. We were just trying to show
Yeah.
what the accessible.
No, I got it. No, the diagrams, you know, seem to show it quite nicely. It looks good. It looks good.
And then I think the next one is the pyramid.
Well, no, they're the elevations.
And what's the height of the building? Under 32?
Yes, it's 28.
Okay, good. Okay, looks good.
Yes, we're under the 32.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right, so at this point, I guess,
Submit the plans.
submit the plans. So what do we do in terms of, do we adjourn?
Adjourn it, yeah.
No, I think you set it for a decision, you know,
Okay.
and she submits the plans to us, and we'll have the building department review them, and then if the building department says no variance is needed, then we
Okay,
just
so we'll
say.
do that as a written submission?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? Okay, so this is mine. We're going to keep the hearing open for now with written submissions, which would include your plans, as of December 8th, with a decision on December 21st. And we may be told by the building department by then that no decision is necessary. Okay, is
Super.
there,
Thank you
is there
very
a
much
s-
for your
well,
suggestions.
well, thank
and
you for
comments.
doing a good job on this.
Yeah,
Yes.
good solution on
Good
that.
solution.
Yes.
Is there a second on this application?
Second.
Third?
Okay, Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess, Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Okay, thank you, very good,
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Okay, 13 is Stephen and Melissa Lassar,
Thank you, Anna.
62 Noyak Harbor Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-4-1-75.1.
Okay. I believe you both have been sworn in.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have to
Many
do that
times.
again. Well, I don't
This is only
many.
our third time here before the board on this application.
What's your name again?
Sal Cicerelli.
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna show a copy and paste it.
Okay. All right, so tell us what's going on.
So we were here in September
and then again in October. And we're here for
In November.
November. Each time we've reduced the requested pyramid relief significantly. You should have the plans that I submitted last week.
I'm afraid I don't. You
They're
have an
actually-
extra copy?
They're actually in.
The written subs, right?
They're in your written subs.
Yep.
Cause you only had to give me the one big one, and you just recently gave me the 11x17.
Yeah, well, I guess,
The
yeah.
ones you gave us
This
tonight.
isn't
Dated
November
November
13th?
13th.
November 13th.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess that's Monday.
so,
And you
alright.
should
You don't
have,
have that?
Hold
you should have full size and then 11x17s.
And you should.
No, this I got before the submission, so. Where did I get this?
And I incorporated that.
Oh, I think I may have copied it on my
I
computer.
emailed it to Candace before that.
No, we know, you did the right thing.
Okay.
You did the right thing.
It's,
Okay.
all right, okay.
I don't have it.
All right,
Some extra.
it'll be in
We
the
just
submittal.
paper shuffle.
We do have a couple extra
Here we
reduced
go, pine
copies.
trees.
Oh, good. Here you go. Who needs a reduced?
It's in your hand.
Yeah, let us have
Open
an
it
extra
up.
copy.
This is October 19.
Just for you.
No, it's.
This is from October 19.
Here's,
That's it, I brought the.
okay, thank you.
Do you need one?
You said I'm okay. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm fine. Okay.
You got it.
I'm just, oh, is this, we just got this?
She's just saying this.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so tell us what's going on.
So, we've reduced, based on the board's comments at the October meeting, we reduced the, ceiling height, further, and the pyramid relief that we're currently requesting is now 3,942 cubic feet. That's 1,089 on the east side and 2,883 on the west side. There's no longer any relief requested for the cupola for the existing garage. So the existing house has pyramid nonconformity of 3707. So we're only asking for just over 200 cubic feet of additional relief.
Your plans say 3972 cubic feet.
Yes.
It's, she
Oh, you
said
said
39,
42.
42. You made it.
Oh.
Oh, okay. No, but it's fine, 265.
260.
That's lovely.
We've made a lot of efforts to
You have.
redesign, to
You
bring
have.
it down. It is now less. The other thing that the board suggested I do is look at the house plans for the house that was approved in 2019. We are now less than that for the house. We were less than their house plus garage, now we're less than their house. The house next door alone is 3,997. So we're at 3,972 for our house. Our house is actually smaller as far as square footage by just a little bit. Our ceiling heights are lower. So if you're comparing the two on virtually identical lots, they're virtually identical variances, I think it's clear that we are in the character of the neighborhood and we're not asking for something beyond what's been approved recently next door.
And as I recall, this is a narrow lot.
Yes.
Is that correct? 69 feet
Yeah.
wide?
Yes, 69
You've got wetlands, and it's very narrow. And you're losing part of the building envelope because of the right-of-way?
Right. If you look at my October 19th letter, I go into a lot of detail about the hardships.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So I don't want to bore you to death.
And the
Yes.
history.
Yes, it is,
Yeah.
there is a large buffer. We're putting an IA septic system, which takes up the whole front of the property. Also, there's an existing garage that blocks the view of this house from the street. And it's at the end of a cul-de-sac that has a large circle in the middle that's got mature trees. So there's no visual impact.
And the cupola was like a big issue, wasn't it, the
And
last
that's-
time?
Yeah, we took that
You know, it was
That's
gonna be
gone, but-
entertainment, and there were
Oh,
gonna be
sure.
all sorts of parties out there and stuff, right? isn't it?
I think you're thinking of
Oh,
a
I'm
different.
That's a
thinking
different, that was an
application. Okay.
application
Yeah,
from
all right.
last
Not
time.
a party.
All right, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
no, no, no,
different
no.
application, different cupolas.
Yeah.
This is a
That was
couple
like a
with,
gazebo. is what
Oh,
you're
that's
thinking
right,
of.
it was a gazebo, all
This
right.
is just
The
a
cupola,
family-
that's right, gazebo,
is
sorry,
Not
it's
a-
late.
not
The
a
gazebo
party
that
place.
doesn't abut the actual
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
bedroom.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Um,
this is not a party
Okay.
situation, no,
Okay.
you're thinking of something
No,
else.
and it just to remind me, the pyramid encroachment of the previous house, was that
The existing house?
the existing house?
It's on,
is-
it's 3707.
Right, the 3707, was
It's
that?
mostly on one side,
Yeah, it was
right?
Right, and was that with, was there a variance for that already
No, that
provided?
was-
No,
Pre-existing.
That was pre-existing.
That pre-exist
Okay.
pyramid.
right,
Pyramid didn't.
that pyramid encroachment
Okay.
Yeah.
pre-existing.
Oh, I remember this
Okay.
house.
Right.
I went to look at this property, and I think you're doing a really good job
Yeah,
of conforming it as best you can. It's a compromised property, there's no question.
yeah,
Um,
it's, I'm very pleased with this, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you come back with a good idea of. All right, so, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on the property of Lesser at 62 Noyak Harbor Road?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Is there anybody on
Robert De
Zoom who
Niro.
wishes to be heard?
It scared me.
Okay, nobody on Zoom. This is yours, Mike.
Okay, thank you. And we were looking for another episode. We're gonna make this like a Netflix series. The Shrinking House.
Sad ending, right?
But,
With the cupola.
with
With
the good
oh,
one.
with the jacuzzi,
Yeah, the cupola will be the
what do you
sequel.
call it, yeah.
Real pyramids
Gazebo.
of the Hamptons.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, Daly has the Daily,
Okay,
and no relation. We will close this public hearing, leave it open for written submissions until December 8th, with a written decision on December 21st.
Second.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, thank
you.
you.
Thank
you.
Thanks a lot.
Third
Okay.
time's a charm.
Item 14, Virginia Daly and James Daly. 8 Pine Tree Street in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-189-1-31.
Thank you for being patient tonight, sir.
Well, you had a fun night watching everything go on.
Previously been sworn, right?
You have been sworn in, yes.
I have not.
No?
Oh, you have not?
I have not been sworn.
Okay.
Yes, you were.
Oh,
Last
last
time you were
time.
Yes,
here.
last
Oh,
time,
even
yes,
before you guys
yeah.
did that.
It
just
continues.
Still gotta
Because
tell
it
the
was
truth.
adjourned.
Now, wait, do you swear you were sworn?
I have a white shirt on, I have a Yankee cap on, so I
Okay,
don't know if I'm the same person.
all right, okay. So what's going on?
Okay, so basically, I came here last time and the first proposal that Mr. Daly made was for a two-story house, which involved a lot of encroachment with the pyramid. So we are just seeking relief from just a couple of things, the pyramid law and the lot coverage, which was before at, we have the cubic feet here at 687 and on the west side and 1526 on the east side. Previously, the encroachment was 11,000, if I'm correct, and 6,000. So we're down to
Can you give us the
223.
figures again?
Yes, 1526 on the west side, and, I'm sorry, 687 on the west side, and 1526 on the east side is the total cubic encroachment. The whole thing was that he had proposed a two-story house, and it was completely out of bounds with this board. So he's been trying for like 5 years to get this thing done, and now he came down to, like, we're talking about the shrinking houses. So it's from 1 story, 2 stories to 1 story, and we reduced down from 11,594 to 697 on cubic feet on one side, and from.
I see, here are the numbers.
And then from
1526.
The other one was from 7/5/88 to 15/26. And there's all these, on the minutes, on the agenda, it's saying something, and we had brought that up last time, that there was some kind of a setback. All of that is gone. We've removed all we're not seeking any relief on the 17 feet or any, everything has been scrapped on that.
Right, and did you meet, because I feel like the last time we spoke, were you meeting with the building department to confirm all this?
From 19,000.
Yes, everything has been confirmed, right, Candace?
You just submit those.
It can be done.
I know you had to revise the survey, which you did email.
Which we did.
But Marjorie did tell you yesterday, when you submit those plans today, there wasn't guaranteed that she could see them.
Correct.
By the end of the day today, because she had
Correct.
to go out in the field.
Correct.
So the building department still needs to.
This is
review
correct.
those
I was on a
plans.
time schedule, you know, we came here and the plans had not reached last time.
Understood.
Right.
And
We
I rushed, you know how architects and surveyors, they're not gonna work, you know, so I got them together finally and barely got everything over to her, to at least get this.
Okay, so as I understand it, you have submitted a revised survey, and you have submitted today, or whenever, the revised plans, which
Correct.
still have to be reviewed by the department.
Correct.
And then, assuming that they're valid and there's no issues with it, then we can
Well,
proceed.
the only issue was elevation, and it was only the
Okay, well,
average
She has
grade.
the way to do the elevations, and yeah.
But we're
Which could affect
building
the
on the same
pyramid
footprint.
encroachment.
We're building up, excuse me?
Which could affect the building, the
Co-
pyramid encroachment.
Correct. But-
Absolutely, until we have final,
But we
Elevations.
we're only building on the same footprint that we
Yeah,
were on
that's
before.
fine.
We're on the same
Right.
foundation, the
So-
surveyor and the architect.
And you're not asking for setback relief at all
No,
at this
we're
point?
not, we're
Okay.
not, not any,
Okay,
just,
so-
just the two relief, and you had mentioned to me it was lot coverage, not lot usage. When I said that, you corrected me, says lot coverage,
Well,
and
you
the
know,
other chairman was here.
Today, trust me, I'm making so many boo-boos, you know, you could be
Well,
correcting me.
we went down from 21.6 to 21.1 on
Okay.
lot coverage.
Yeah,
And the pyramid encroachment, I told you, those are the only two, 330-84 and 330-11 are the only two reliefs we're looking for.
Okay.
And
all right.
concerning,
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application?
oh my God.
Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to be heard on 8 Pine Street application? Okay, Keith, this is yours.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Yes, thank you.
work on it.
Motion to close?
We went to 22. We go to
Gonna
22.
close this,
Public hearing, yeah.
Okay?
Okay,
and, leave it open for written subs to 12/8. And we'll have a determination on 12/21.
Second.
Mr. Daly? Mr. Tuthill?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia? Ms. Burgess? Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
So
thank you so much.
Follow
Thank
up
you.
with
I'm
Marge,
sorry.
follow up with
Yeah,
Marge
follow
and
up
make sure
with
she
We
reviews
need
it.
to
I
make
always do.
sure we.
I'm very on top. I come out here more than I should.
Because we can't,
We can't approve it until we hear from them.
because we can't, give you the decision on only one if we don't get the building.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I told you, I was scurrying, and I just didn't want this to be adjourned. So
No,
I
appreciate it.
did everything I possibly could to get it as fast as I could to get to her.
All right,
I
we
had to deal with some personalities, you know,
We all do.
surveyors and
We all-
architects.
we all
and
have no
architects.
idea what you're talking
So,
about.
Professionals and all that.
all right, just, but we have to,
Motion to close?
Second.
Second, third, fifth.
all in favor?
Aye.
Close.